This episode, I talk about the Drawsteel books shipping, details about the December Crowdfunder, and where Omund's land went, and the Boggits Crowdfunder by Triglav Games. I'm John Denor, and this is Goblin Points. I'm going to be a bit self-indulgent and start out with a project I'm doing with the Dice Society. As this episode goes live, there's only a few hours left of voting for the judges in Jams of the Timescape #1, Sets of the Timescape. We've received 39 submissions of level treasure sets for Drawsteel. Some of the submissions are the first time some of the participants have published any homebrew publicly. I love that we get to encourage people to give it a go. We even had someone in the Gems of the Timescape Discord say they thought they wouldn't be able to submit their work in time for the deadline. Others immediately showed up and helped. They managed to get a submission in, and how fantastic is that? That's just a benefit of inheriting the community from Drawsteel and MCDM. I have, right behind me, 2 stacks of Drawsteel dice boxes that are going to 2 deserving winners of the jam. These are the 5 sets of dice for the 5 iconic heroes from the core rules, and a very big thank you to MCDM for sponsoring the prizes. If you didn't have time to participate this time, you'll get more opportunities. Treasure Sets of the Timescape was just the first volume. If the Dice Society and I get our way, there will be more. And now to some official Drawsteel news. MCDM has notified people to make sure their addresses are correct in BackerKit because the books are starting to ship. Some people are already reporting that they've received them or that they're receiving shipping confirmations. It's important to remember in this exciting time that there are over 30,000 books that needs to be shipped. That's going to take a while. It might be weeks before you get your shipping confirmation. And then the books might spend weeks in transit. You'll just have to be patient. For those of us who ordered the Ajax edition, the boxes are still expected to start shipping in November, if everything goes to plan. All Ajax editions are being shipped from the US, so that'll impact how long it'll take to reach you once you receive your shipping notification. MCDM is still planning on a crowdfunder in December, but what's going to be featured in it has changed a bit. And until it actually launches, we won't really know for sure what's going to be in there, but here's the latest. Omund's land is not going to be in it. While there have been interest in a setting guide, the great majority of directors are running campaigns in their own settings. While they may borrow elements from published settings, they're not using the complete setting. What could have gone into the setting guide is now slated to be published in chunks on Patreon instead. That way, directors can still get the information about Orden and Vesloria to steal from, and MCDM can spend time developing products that more people want. It looks like the crowdfunder will instead focus on Crack the Sun, the big 5-level adventure. It'll be a box set with the adventure and a bunch of extra items. What those items will be, we don't know yet. Crack the Sun is split into 5 acts, one for each of the levels from 3 to 8, and will take the heroes to Equinox to meet the Shadow Elves and Gnomes, godlike beings, and then ultimately to the sun. And unlike our sun, the sun in Orden is not a big burning ball. It is a glowing orb and the home of the Heliox. And the ultimate goal is to stop the bad guys from cracking it open, letting what's inside out. Also in the crowdfunder, you'll be able to pre-order the 3rd core rulebook, Encounters, which features resources for directors to drop into a session, a bunch of small 3-room dungeons, montage tests for different situations, a bunch of NPCs with stats including motivations and pitfalls, and art, and skill test templates. All these are meant to be used without having to do much or any prep. They're supposed to be the answer to, what's a good way to do this? You'll also be able to order the 4 adventures currently being worked on, the Red Road, the Fall of Blackbottom, the Dark Heart of the Woods, and the Condemned. By the time we get to the crowdfunder, the Fall of Black Bottom will most likely already be out. And last, there'll be the Ancestries. 8 new playable Ancestries: Goblins, Rat Folk, called Raiden Whites, Shadow Elves, Gnomes, small folk the size of mice, Dragonfly people called Scarge, Fairies, another small folk with butterfly wings, Gaul, the human-like ancestry, and Heliox, the inhabitants of the sun. Matt also mentioned that you'll be able to buy heroes and monsters as part of the Crowdfunder too. Apparently, a lot of people like to buy the back catalog when they back future projects. Moving on to other MCDM topics, Matt has been very clear that he intends MCDM to not be a one-game company. He wants MCDM to have a portfolio of games and products to prevent putting all the eggs in the single basket. James is working on a dungeon crawler RPG called Crows. This game is in many ways the polar opposite of Draw Steel. The characters are squishy people and easy to kill. They have no powers of their own but need equipment to hold their own. They dive into dangerous dungeons in search of gold and other loot. James has been tinkering on Crows on and off for a year. Yes, I checked my notes, it's been a year. But he's only been able to focus on it recently after the release of Draw Steel. He is currently testing 2 versions of the game with different dice mechanics. One where you're rolling a pool of d6s, and one that uses the power roll, but where each weapon has a power roll instead of the characters having abilities. The game is still in very early development, and there's no timeline if or when it'll release. TitanCraft is currently running a crowdfunder on Kickstarter for MCDM monsters. They've partnered with MCDM to license the monster design, and TitanCraft lets you create 3D figures for both heroes and monsters, and then either download an STL file for 3D printing or make a 2D token for use on VTTs. You can also order a 3D print of your figurine. By backing, you'll get access to the Draw Steel Asset Pack, which gives you unlimited downloads of tokens and STL files, while using the asset packs you own. The crowdfunder is going until the 16th of October, and pledges start at $45. Codex received a massive update for directors this month. It's now possible to create documents. You can use them to organize notes for dungeons or scenes, and the documents also let you refer to Codex settings if you want easy access to volume controls, for example, while reading the document. It's also possible to share the document with the players and designate parts of the document to be private to the director. Then, it allows you to set up encounters directly in the document with scaling support. You can specify which monsters should be included based on the number of heroes, and the Codex will show a control that lets the director specify the number of heroes, and the encounters will be adjusted accordingly. It also lets you deploy all the monsters in the encounter onto the map in one go. It will also remember the position if you remove them again. That means you can deploy the monsters, position them just so, remove them from the map, and then redeploy them in those desired positions once the heroes arrive. This is truly powerful stuff. According to his most recent episode, the Dice Society has been busy lately. Still, hasn't stopped them from putting together jams of the Timescape with me, making episode 2 of his How to Draw Steel series, which cover combat abilities, releasing a new episode of the Dice Society podcast where he talks about Daggerheart and how it feels compared to Draw Steel, and he's a panel judge in the jam. Tabletop Nonsense Verse just published their 3rd issue of the Blacksmith's Guild. This issue features a cyborg ancestry by Jacob Taylor. You've been implanted with psionic implants to enhance your body, and like the Revenant ancestry, you choose the ancestry you were before becoming enhanced. The Elf King by Kaio the Dice Society Lente. An Elf King has tyrannical hold over the village of Oatley, and the heroes are asked to help the townsfolk. It's designed for 4 to 6 first-level heroes and grants between 5 and 7 victories. Charge Forth! Understanding and Improving Mounted Combat by Max Falcon. An article that collects all the rules for mounted combat in a single place with expanded explanations. There's also hints for designing mounted encounters, 4 new kits designed for mounted heroes, and 4 new mounts. Soul Snatchers by Paul Ligorski. A new monster band of creatures that roam the Sea of Stars and the Timescape in search of lost souls. The monster band includes Mal's features, 5 level 5 monsters, 2 new treasures, and an encounter. Tunzen, the Lord of Dance by Harmonic Huel. Tunzen is a level 6 solo monster with some wonderful mechanics around dancing and performing dance. He's truly a dance lord. You can get the issue from their web store for $7. The first issue of Rat Catchers has been released. The issue features Living Traps by Spencer Hibnick, a collection of traps to spring on your heroes, 2 level 1 Festival Frog themed traps, 2 level 3 animated object traps, and 2 level 4 demonic eye traps, for a total of 6 traps. Mimic by Sam McGurn. If you've been missing a mimic in the Monsters book, Sam's got you covered. Also included in the article is a research project to create a mimic and a mimic retainer. Creatures of the Woad by Chris Hopper. A monster band of creatures to find in those mystical and weird forests called Woads, complete with Malice features, 1 level 1, 2 level 2, and 1 level 5 monster. The Grounds of Battle by Felix Gauthier Mamorel. I'm sorry about the name. Fantastic article on how to create a good battle map for Draw Steel. Making sure to include proper cover from line of effect, remember to calculate for actual effective ranges, and include variations in height. Dryads by Joel Russ. A Dryad as a playable ancestry. There's 2 signature traits and 8 purchasable traits. Anthuzai, or Flower Folk, by Joel Russ. Humanoids that looks like impressive flowers. They come with 2 signature traits and 6 purchasable traits. The Elemental Dancers of Avahandi by Aaron Flavius West. 2 level 2 monsters, stat blocks for the dancers. They dance their way through combat, rotating through 3 elemental flows, cold, fire, and lightning. An Avahandi treasure is also included in the article. You can get the digital version of Ratcatchers for $10 and the physical version for $15. Legend Lore Games has put together a kit supplement which extends the options for the kits included in the core rules. These are not new kits, but instead variants of the existing ones. Each kit grants the same bonuses, but this supplement adds more abilities to choose from. So instead of getting the designated ability for the kit you choose, you can select one of the abilities listed for the kit instead. Some of the abilities offered aren't even signature abilities, but triggered actions. For example, for the Cloak and Dagger kit, how about the free triggered action Cutback, which lets you do a bit of retaliatory damage if someone adjacent attacks you. This is a really cool addition for those who want a few more options when doing character creation. You can pick up On the Edge on itch for a suggested price of $2. MrMattDollar has released 2 products in September. Alchemical Consumables is a collection of 33 consumable treasures with an alchemical twist. There are treasures for all 4 echelons, including an artifact and a trinket. There's also a new title, a new perk, and 4 alchemist followers and an alchemist retainer included. Practical Mechanicals is a collection of 24 new treasures, vehicles to use as mounts, a new title, a new perk, a construct assistant, 4 new artisan followers, and a new retainer. You can get them on MrMattDollar's itch for $5 each. Paul Ligorski, aka Heart of Arcana, has released a 7th level quest called To Defy the Stars. Love that name. It's still in playtesting, but you can get access to the materials and give it a go. Paul warns that the adventure expects all players to be familiar with Draw Steel, as the combats are designed to be hard. To Defy the Stars is currently free, but I expect it'll become a paid product once the material has been tested and completed. Paul Ligorski also announced a crowdfunder that launches in November called The Cave of Amber Tears. It's designed for 5 first-level heroes, and if you're the adventurous sort, you can get the playtest materials for free. This month, we saw the release of 2 adventures that was successfully funded earlier this year. Raiders of Ivywatch, in which you try to save the titular town of Ivywatch. First, they were attacked by Ajax's Hawklords, then by Lizard Folk. Now, they need some heroes. You can pick up the adventure on itch for $18. The Great Thaw of Grismithrak Spire was the first successfully funded adventure written for Draw Steel. There's a great thawing of an icy prison that holds an ancient danger Can the hero stop the creature? You can pick it up on DriveThruRPG for $4.99. Shab has released Tangleblight, a 38-page adventures for 3 to 5 heroes. The town of Oren has a rat problem. A local leader of Raiden Whites needs to be dealt with, but there's also a thorn dragon that has awakened and started spreading a blight across the land. The heroes can earn between 8 and 10 victories. You can get the adventure for free on itch. Patrax has released Feral, a quest for second-level heroes. The village of Giles, or Giles maybe, is occupied by Ajax's war dogs, but the war dogs are growing impatient with the lack of action. The heroes arrive and are tasked with freeing the town, either by negotiation or by the blade. I don't know. I said it like that. You can pick up Feral for a suggested price of $2 on itch. Valued Dragon Design is releasing new monsters every week, and at the time of writing, has 6 collections available on their store. 11 stat blocks for merfolk, 10 stat blocks for beastfolk, 11 stat blocks for fake creatures, 10 stat blocks for oozes, 12 stat blocks for awakened plants, and a first level solo space spider. You can pick them all up or pay what you want on their Ko-fi page. Triglav Games, perhaps best known for their massive vampire class crowdfunder earlier this year, has announced their second crowdfunder, Boggits of Kingsmire. According to the subtitle, it's a Swampy supplement for Draw Steel. The supplement's focus is the region of Kingsmire. It features a new ancestry, the Boggits, which are frog people, new kits, a swamp domain for conduits and sensors, new Stormwight kits for the Fury, new perks, titles, and treasure, new downtime projects, new monsters, setting details, and multiple quests set in Kingsmire for you to get started in the region. No word on price tiers yet, but the art on the Crowdfunder landing page looks fantastic. It launches on October 15th. All of this is just the tip of the iceberg of creations being released for Draw Steel. Some highlights from the community in the past month are the faction rules by 6-Foot Ninja, treasures to reward when beating the solo monsters in the core rules by Designer Club, a prisoner's escort by Fellhoof, Drawn Armory by Kerpow, Compact Steel sample characters by Paul Strack, Draw Steel actual plays on YouTube by Rise Heroes Rise, Draw Steel templates for Affinity InDesign and Google Docs by Taylor, Draw Steel retainer cards by Sochilex, and more. Elsewhere on the web, people are talking a lot about Draw Steel as more and more people are checking it out. There are a bunch of live plays, and D20 Play especially has done a lot of streams where they play with different groups of people. And James did an interview with the character sheet at the beginning of September. I released 2 updates for Stawl in September, and the new features include the core rules, heroes and monsters are now available to read and link to, importing heroes from Forged Steel, items from the core rules have been added, and the ability to create your own, the ability to organize monsters into monster bands, and I also gave Distiar, the Discord bot, a real brush up. It now uses the correct rules for tests, it can look up more information from the core rules, and it looks up the correct information about monsters. Holy crap, there's a lot of stuff being released for Draw Steel. I remember when I could cover everything, no problem, but this month, literally half the script is just links to everything that's happening. If you're playing, there are so many great creations, small, simple, or complex. If you want to be featured on Goblin Points or know of someone else who should be, leave me a comment on YouTube or Spotify, or send me an email on tips@goblinpoints.com. Links to everything, including this script, can be found in the show notes and on goblinpoints.com. If you want to support my work, you can become a Patreon supporter. As a paying member, you can submit questions for upcoming guests. You also get access to premium features on Stawl. Stawl is a digital toolset for playing and running Draw Steel, digital hero sheets, looking up monsters, or read the core rules. Go to stawl.app, stawl.app. Next episode is on the 20th. That will be the interview with Mateusz, aka Ananam of Triglav Games. As I mentioned, they're gearing up for a new large crowdfunding campaign, and it'll be interesting to hear what they've learned from their previous outing. See you next time. Snaggis.